In this video, we're going to look at solving quadratic equations, and the specific strategy we're going to use for this problem is we're going to do it by factoring. So this problem that we're looking at is x squared minus 13x plus 36 is equal to 0. And ultimately we want to solve this, so that means we want to be able to get x on one side of the equal sign by itself to see what it's equal to. The problem with this is it is a quadratic, so we have an x to the second power. So we're going to have to use different methods than we would normally use if we had something like a linear 2x plus 1 equals 4 kind of thing. So another thing that I wanted to note before we actually work this out is you're not always going to be given the strategies in the question. So the question may just say solve the quadratic equation. It may not tell you that you may want to use factoring for this particular problem. So you want to pay attention to what the problems look like and associate those with each strategy so that when you run into a question like this, you know which strategy to use, just in case it's not listed explicitly. So let's go with what we know. We know how to factor x squared minus 13x plus 36 because it's a trinomial, and we can look at the factors of 36 and see if any of those factors combine to give us a negative 13, and they do, a 4 and a 9. So factoring x squared minus 13x plus 36, go ahead and set up our sets parentheses. Also, we want to bring down the equals 0. We're going to put x and x in the first positions of the two parentheses, and we're going to put those factors that combine to 13 in the second positions, the 4 and the 9, because 4 times 9 equals 36, and negative 4 minus 9 more is going to give us negative 13. So there we are. We now have it in factored form. So we have x minus 4 times x minus 9 is equal to 0. So now comes the purpose of this strategy. We have two quantities that are being multiplied together, and we say that they equal 0. So anytime you have two things or more things multiplied together equaling 0, the 0 product principle says that one or both of those have to equal 0, because the only way to get 0 through multiplication is for at least one of them to be 0 itself. So what we need to do is we need to set each of these equal to 0. So we're going to set the x minus 4 and the x minus 9, or all of the factors that you have if it's a more generalized problem. So let's go ahead and set the x minus 4 equals 0. And of course, we can add 4 to both sides and we get x is equal to positive 4. So positive 4 is our first solution for this problem. Let's do the same thing with the x minus 9. Of course, you can probably do this step in your head once you've gotten used to it if you want to. It's perfectly okay. We get x equals positive 9. And so our two potential solutions are 4 and 9. Now, as always, this is an equation. We solve for x. So if you want to verify that these are in fact the solutions, you can go back and you can plug a 4 in the place of x or a 9 in the place of x everywhere you have an x, and make sure you get 0 on the left-hand side. And if you do, you know you're good. So that's it. Anytime you can factor a trinomial like this, it's a pretty easy way to solve the quadratic equation. Just set each of the factors equal to 0 and you're done.